I'm making this video in order to help others, really, to be honest with you. First of all, this is my die set, obviously, and I got this. This is a Lyman Spar T, S-P-A-R-T. Now, it'll come, you'll have Lyman on one side, it'll say ST on the other here, and some people call it an ST, but it's really a Spar T. Last made in 1969, I believe. I got it from a guy recently and love this press. It's really old. I mean, last time I think it was in production is 1969. The threads are brand new, never been used. I don't think a die's ever even been in this. These are obviously my dies, and then got a whole bunch of other stuff with it. What I did get with it was this here. This is an auto feed, primer auto feed, and then there's obviously, and even the primer, this primer arm here was brand new, still in the package. I'll show you. So, cigarettes out of the way. This is the obvious, what does it say? It calls it the Lyman Universal Primer Arm. That was, that's this black portion here. And I'll show you what's going on with this in just a second. You'll see. So, comes with an Allen wrench, different size. They call it, it's the name is on right here on it. Right here, you'll see what the listings in the package, and then you'll have different size, whatever you want to call them, down in there that'll hold different size primers, or the types of primers, large, small, whatever. Then, this little setup here is the auto feed. So it's the brand new, still in the box too, unopened, Lyman Spar T. There's how you do the Lyman Spar T. Auto primer feed. Now, in this box, you got, this is the large primer tube. You'll get, obviously, the small one. You'll have two of these red caps. You'll have two pins. And then you'll have the actual primer feed body itself. And, so, here, well, yeah, it's kind of tight in there. But anyway, so you'll have that. So here we are. Now, you'll have the spring, the body feed, the spring, and you'll have this little, right here, this little roll pin that attaches at the midway point on the universal primer arm. And the primer arm will also obviously be the primer arm itself, and it will have obviously the accessories I told you, but you should have the pins, the pin for that already with the Lyman Spar T. So anyway, so up she goes. You've now loaded some primers backwards. You take the red cap off. These are brass, obviously. You load your primers in from the bottom or the top down. You put the cap back on. You then take your rod. You set it in like so. I'm just doing this for those that may not know. You then pull the pin. When you pull the pin, then all the primers are fed down into here, into the auto primer. There is a little tab, little black tab here that depresses. Hard to do one-handed. And that little tab, as this rides forward, touches that and then drops, seats a new primer into the universal primer arm. So that's how it works. Touch there and it rolls there. So now, let's take a look at this spring for a minute and we'll talk about it. But, oh, you have an adjustment setting here for that little black tab up front. That's the adjustment. And there's a through hole here. That through hole is for if you want to remove, this is the small pistol, okay? If you want to take that cap out of there, that primer base, whatever they call it, there's a screw down at the bottom down here that you can get through this hole. And that's how you remove that and then put a new, larger or different rounded, and there's the Allen key that goes through the hole. So now, here's the issue I was having. So I had all this new, and this was pretty apparent how it was assembled. Everything was except this spring. So everything was fine, and then this was all floppy, and I kept looking on the forums and everywhere else. Couldn't find no pictures or how this spring went on there. And it was, like I said, it was really floppy, and I was like, oh my God, this ain't gonna work. So obviously, go forward, down prime, back, reseats the new primer in the primer arm. New round in, our new case in, back again, and so on. Now, let's talk about this spring. So, and if you'll notice, this is how it works. When I got this, there is a little, you see that little metal tip there? There was two on both sides. There was one on this side and one on this side. But they were facing this direction. So they were both pointing down and facing in this direction. So I got to looking, and I finally saw a fuzzy picture from a distance of a guy's Spar tee. And I noticed he had the arm on there, and it wasn't flopping. It was obviously tightened up. And I blew that picture up as far as I could and kind of noticed how it went on. Those little arms was a mistake, I believe, for the manufacturer. It was in the wrong direction. So I bent one back, this one, obviously. It sits just fine. Then I went to bend this one back, and obviously I broke it. I guess I can just throw some tape up there, because all it does is just slide on and off. One little piece of tape would probably just hold it right there in place, just perfect, to be honest with you, because let's just do this. See, it's just like, you can even ride your finger right there. It goes forward, back, load, 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 whatever. Now, it'll go, it comes in down and around, and I can't take this off one-handed, honestly. Once you've took this around the pins here on either side, this little pins, and you came up and see how it's squared off, then you ride it up, and you'll stick those, once you have them bent in the right direction, here, you'll stick those, and it'll be setting like that, and you go, and you can just kind of lean it over top of this roll pin that's holding the body together, these two parts together, and it kind of gives it an extra oomph, an extra spring tension, and that's what makes this seat or set straight up and down and perfect, and it really does do the trick. I mean, you can just see it in there. There you go, and I'll hold it in, push it forward. Once you see how easy it is, it just boom, boom. So hopefully that helps you out with your Spar tee auto prime, or excuse me, let's just read the box. Lyman Spar tee auto primer feed assembly and spring. Thanks. God bless. Hope you guys have a great time loading your ammo.